Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Chairman of the Board of Directors, Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, Robert J. Hugin.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Wow, what a way to start the 56th annual meeting for PhRMA. Welcome and thank you so much for coming. We're very fortunate today. We're actually joined by three of the men and women who were in that video. We have with us Craig Lustig, if you'd stand up. We also have Susan Parkinson and C.J. Corneliuson James. So, we are so fortunate that you are with us today, but we are here because of you. You are the reason why we are here. Make no mistake about it. And make no mistake about the fact that our commitment to make a difference in the lives of people who are underserved today is what develops and discovers for us our individual purpose and gives our companies mission and meaning. And it's our commitment to make a meaningful difference in the lives of patients all around the world that aligns us with all the stakeholders in the entire ecosystem of healthcare that's committed to making a difference in patients' lives every day. And it's my commitment to you that throughout this meeting, the patient will be at the center of all of the discussions that we have. So thank you again for being with us. I think it's very clear to all of us, certainly clear to me, why we are here, and the video certainly illustrated that. But where we are is also important, and I don't mean the Mayflower Hotel, but in Washington, D.C. It's no accident that we're in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. is the home for policymakers, for government leaders, for advocacy groups, for the FDA, for the NIH, all important groups that tremendously influence the environment that we operate in. And if we are committed to creating the kind of positive environment that encourages progressive policies, that incentivize risk-taking so that we will discover and develop the next breakthrough therapies and reward innovation and ensure that patients have access to innovative therapies, we must be here. And we must be engaged with all these constituencies to find those common interests to create that positive environment. And that's the mission that we have at the 56th annual PhRMA meeting today, tomorrow, and Friday morning. When we thought about what we were going to do for this meeting, we were thinking, what kind of theme should we have? What should the purpose be? And when you think about the environment that we operate in, it's extremely complex. There are very divergent trends in the things that we do. And we saw that in every way we looked at thinking about what should we focus on at this meeting. You read the newspaper or you watch television, and it's very easy to come to the conclusion that these are probably the most challenging times in healthcare in America that there have ever been. You hear about all the problems with the exchanges, you think about the cost of care and changes in the revolution that's happening in healthcare all over America. You can't pick up a newspaper and not read something that says there's great challenges here in healthcare. And when you really think about it, as people that are as engaged as we are in it, these newspapers and the media that talks about the terrible problems that are real, they don't even really sense the shadow, the looming specter that's out there of this coming tsunami of costs for the care of an aging population with increasing rates of metabolic disease and cancer, Alzheimer's, that have the real potential to destabilize developed economies all over the world. This is a problem we don't even talk about that much in the press, and yet we think about healthcare and the tremendous challenges we have. So it is a very, very difficult time in the area that we operate. But at the same time, if you go to the American Association of cancer research, or you go to almost any medical meeting or scientific meeting, and you have this tangible feeling of tremendous promise, that we are really still at the dawn of the revolution in molecular biology and the application of the revolution in information technology to molecular biology, and the prospects of producing dramatic breakthroughs are brighter than it has ever been in our history. I am confident when we look back 10 years from now, we're going to say that this coming decade was absolutely the decade of molecular biology. And for those of you that believe in stem cells and are advocates of Google and longevity, and when you look back at the end of the century, this century is going to be looked upon as the golden era of molecular biology. So the prospects are tremendous. At the same time, the challenges are enormous. And I think when we do look back, our integrated system of biomedical research and innovation is going to be a central part to the solution of these tremendous problems that we face. And we are here today to advance the cause of turning this great promise into reality. So we thought about the themes, and we said, let's really focus on three things. Let's talk about the promise of science and the pipeline that our science and our country's science brings potentially to patients. But let's also make sure we talk about both the challenges and opportunities in the environment, in the policy environment in which we operate. And the third theme of our meeting here for the next couple of days is also to affirm our PhRMA mission and priorities, to ensure they're aligned with the issues that we see in the environment and with the promises out there for all the companies in our industry. And as we thought about how to structure the meeting and how to organize this, we said it's time for a little bit of a change, and PhRMA has changed a lot over the years in many very positive ways. We've been very fortunate. The organization is a much more dynamic organization today than it was a number of years ago. And this meeting today is changing quite a bit also. It's an open meeting. We have over 100 stakeholders participating with us. Over 20 people from the media are coming to be with us in this open meeting. The meeting is being webcast. It's going to be a working meeting with less plenary sessions to ensure that we have the opportunity to really go into detail on the 6 strategic initiatives and issues that we want to discuss during the course of this meeting. We are going to have some plenary sessions, and we're going to hear from great scientific leaders and government officials who will help frame some of these important issues for us. We're going to have John Castellani and Ian Reed give us profound statements about the future of pharma and the future of our industry and where we're headed. So we're going to do that also, but we're going to tackle some of the most important and challenging issues that our industry faces. And at the end of the meeting, we're looking for solutions and recommended courses of action. And we want to do it in an integrated way. And that's why we're so fortunate to have with us so many of the stakeholders from different areas of patient advocacy, in the government, in academic medicine with us, to ensure that our discussions are robust and complete and really have the totality of the problems and challenges and opportunities that we face. And this is working. We hope this meeting will have the largest attendance at a PhRMA annual meeting in over 20 years. So let me tell you a little bit about the 6 initiatives that we want to pursue over the course of the meeting. The first one is the topic that we all talk about. Healthcare delivery systems in America have to change, are going to change. Public policy around healthcare delivery is changing. And we're so fortunate that we've got Joaquin Duato from Johnson & Johnson, who is going to moderate the panel. He has a really easy panel to moderate with people from CMS, insurance companies, hospitals, and patient groups. I think it'll be a very peaceful, quiet, hopefully it'll be a very dynamic discussion. Richard Pops is going to help us host and lead a meeting that's going to talk about advancing the biomedical innovation ecosystem. We have great promise and great progress has been made about. We talk, and some of the things you'll hear the next couple of days, the things we're doing with pre-competitive partnerships to really ensure that we're bringing integrated research solutions to the problems and the opportunities that we face in the areas that we operate in. But we're not where we need to be. Think about it. The average cost to bring a drug to market, $1.2 to $1.3 billion, 11 or 12 years. That's unacceptable in the world today. With the technology we have, the information we have to find ways to work better together, speed that up, and lower the cost, and solve the problems more quickly. Small objective. The third panel, led by Deirdre Connolly, is to make sure we need to do a better job of communicating the value of the biopharmaceutical industry. People don't appreciate the fact that it's our industry's medicines that account for 90% of the 80% reduction in deaths from AIDS. That our medicines are a critical part of the fact that we have double the number of cancer survivors. The fact that death by heart attack and heart disease just in the first half of the last decade went down by 45%. My kids don't even know, 23, 21, 19 years old, don't even know there was an AIDS epidemic. They didn't know when I was growing up, and many of us in this room were growing up, if an uncle died at 50 or that, it was expected. You know, you hit 50, heart attacks coming. It doesn't happen anymore. Do you know, and very few people in America even know that you have a 4 times greater risk if you suffer from Alzheimer's to be institutionalized if you're untreated. You have a less than 1/4 of the same risk if you're treated with Alzheimer's patients treated today. And we know our therapies are not anywhere near as good as they're going to be over the next 10 years. We're also fortunate to have a panel. We're going to talk about innovation and its impact on public health and the economy. And Mark Bouton's going to lead that for us and think about the facts there, about what our industry has done to the U.S. economy. 50% of the growth in the U.S. economy over the last 50 years has been attributed to medical innovation. 50% of the economic growth. Today, 80% of the biologic research in the world is done in the United States. 65% of the patents for all new chemical entities that lead to drugs over the last 20 years come from the United States. 35 years ago, more than 50% came from Europe. Today, less than 25% come from Europe. Where patents go, it's where revenue goes, and that's where taxes go. A big part of the U.S. economy has been the crown jewel of the life sciences industry, and we want to make sure we understand that and help people understand that. And at the same time, when you think about the impact on public health, the length of American lives and the quality of lives been so dramatically impacted by the companies that we serve here at PhRMA and in the life sciences industry more broadly. 40% of the increase in life expectancy from 1986 to 2000 came from medical innovation and new therapies. 73% of the increase in life expectancy in the first decade of this century is directly attributed to new therapies. The impact on both public health and the economy of what we do and this ecosystem of biomedical innovation does is critical to public health and the economy, and we need to make sure it stays that way, and the panel is going to work on that. And Geraldine Ritter from Merck is going to lead us on a panel on innovation, intellectual property, and trade policy. Intellectual property is the lifeblood of innovation. We have to protect intellectual property. But it can't be at the expense of access to therapies in economies that can't afford those. And we need to make sure people understand those are two separate issues. Intellectual property, fueling innovation and new discoveries and new help to patients all over the world, and access to medicine. We've got to figure out how we deal with that, and this panel is going to help us look for solutions and ideas for how do we move forward. And the sixth panel is on information technology revolution. Healthcare will be revolutionized by digital health in the next decade. In many ways, we won't even recognize the way patients are treated and the way we think about our own health, consumer-oriented healthcare and the kind of delivery changes. Our industry, healthcare broadly defined, is finally being taken over by the information technology, or participating in the information technology revolution. The financial world was revolutionized 25 years ago. The next 10 years, the revolution in information technology and healthcare is going to be dramatic. It is going to change the way healthcare is delivered. It's going to change the way we discover drugs. It's going to change the way people think about their lives and fitness and health. We need to make sure we don't only survive during this revolution, that we thrive during this revolution. And that panel is going to be led by a McKinsey partner, Michael Chewy. So it's great. I think we've got great panels and discussions on issues that are so important to all of us in the ecosystem of healthcare and biomedical innovation. But we also want outcomes. And I really think, for me, it's simple. 3 outcomes that I hope by Friday we achieve. First, for those that share our vision of making a positive impact on people's lives and improving the economy in the future, a positive view of the future, we want by Friday that our bonds are strengthened by our demonstration of the clear commitment to creative, integrated to the solutions to the issues that we deal with. For the people that we are aligned with, we want to demonstrate that we are even better partners going forward than we have been up till today. For those that are uninformed or ill-informed, we want this meeting to begin an acceleration of the narrative, an understanding of the value that we bring, the track record of success in changing people's lives with vaccines and therapies and all kinds of medical interventions, the impact on the economy, and importantly, that we are a critical part of the solution to deal with the tremendous public health and economic issues that our society will face over the next decade. We are a major part of the solution, and the uninformed and the ill-informed need to begin to become better informed about reality. And the third objective is, for those that don't share our positive view of the future, that don't think we should invest in research and development to lengthen people's lives and improve the quality of life, and invest in our economy through research and development, or are misguided in their view that we should import flawed systems from overseas, we have to demonstrate to them our resolve that we will not accept regressive policies that lead us to retrenchment and rationing. 3 objectives that we want to achieve during the next couple of days. And I think we've got a great team to deal with these issues. Before we move and start the actual meeting, I do want to just stop for a minute and thank everyone, first for coming, but also it's amazing for me that a year has passed since I became the chairman of PhRMA, and it has been an amazing year for me. It has been one of just tremendous energy and enthusiasm I felt from people. I have learned so much as I've had the opportunity to travel and deliver the message of our industry and our companies around the United States and the world. It has been such an energizing experience. I've been so fortunate to meet so many of you. I've learned so much. I have such positive feelings about what all of our companies do and the promise that we have and the difference that we're going to make over the next years. It has been just an amazing experience, and I want to thank you for your support during that period of time. I especially want to thank my predecessors, Chris Fiebacher and John Lechleiter. They have been great mentors to me in terms of providing the charting the path of where we're headed with PhRMA. And we're on a right direction. We're doing things that will both deal with short-term challenges, but also building the better future, so that when we think about the issues that we'll deal with them in a much more constructive environment. And for Ian Reed and Ken Frazier, it has been just my distinct pleasure to work with them on the executive team, and their wisdom and counsel has been just tremendous and much, much appreciated. It has been an honor and a privilege to be the chairman of PhRMA. And I think we're all very fortunate that our organization is aligned. We don't have a board of directors that some want to do this and some want to do that. There's a vision with the patient first and the key issues prioritized, and that direction is very clear. We're very fortunate to be aligned, and thank the board members for their support over the past year. We're also extremely fortunate to have John Castellani as the leader of PhRMA. He and the staff do an outstanding job of protecting our interests every day, both in the short term and in the long term. It has been just a pleasure and a great experience for me to get to know and work with John. So thank you very much, and especially thank the staff also for the great work in preparing for this meeting. And I would be remiss if I didn't thank Rich Bagger, my friend, that I would have never been able to do this job if I hadn't stolen it from Chris Christie and Pfizer. But anyway, let's have a great meeting. Thanks for being here, and look forward to seeing you at the close of the meeting. Thank you.